Hello, this is Bud. Jim is asking about resizing multiple items within Designer. He's using a Mac. I'm presuming that the commands are similar. At least the concept will be the same, even if the words are different. So let's look at something in CarveWright Designer. And what I'm going to do to start with is make it a little easier so we know what's going on. All three of these things, let's say he wants to resize so that proportionally they're the same. That may not be the case if he's doing a box and he wants the one dimension to stay the same. There are some drawbacks that you have to realize. I'm going to hold down Control and I'm going to highlight all three items. That puts a yellow dotted box around all of these items that I'm dealing with. On the corners you see a yellow triangle. The center of the top and the center of the sides and the bottom you also see yellow triangles. If I deal with the triangles on the side or on the top in the center, they will skew my image. Now if I do something wrong, all I have to do is come up to Edit and do an undo, and I'm back to where I was before I made that mistake. I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to go to Layout and Snap and set a grid at 1/2 inch. Now I can snap to a grid, which I may or may not want to do. And I'm going to click OK. I'm not snapping to a grid, so you know what's going on. Now I can come up to View, sorry for that, and toggle grid lines. And I see my grid lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this entire figure complex to a particular grid line so that I have a good reference point. I've got a grid line going up and down here, and I've got the grid line going across the page here that I'm setting on. I am not going to move this side or the bottom. I'm going to come up to one of these arrows on the corner up here at the top, and I'm going to hold down my mouse button and just draw in or out, and I'm going to resize that thing to what I want. And what I can see is that now my lettering is 2 grids high, which means it's about 1 inch, maybe a little bit over. The whole pattern, I can count the grids. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe I want to come up 12. That's 6 inches high. And I can count across and see how many it is as well from that standpoint. But everything is proportional so that you see what's going on. Let's do it again. Control, click on each item, and come to the corner and just stretch that thing out, and everything's proportional. Okay. Now if I come up to the center in that triangle on the top and draw down, then the length stays the same, but the tops of the figures are closer to the bottom, and that will skew my whole pattern from that standpoint. Now I did 2 draws there, so if I come up to undo, there's my first one, come up to undo, and there's my second one. The same thing here. If I move it in from the side, get rid of everything, you can see how it's skewed. Again, I can come up to undo, and everything's back where it was. So I can get out of it. Now, if I want the box to be a certain length, but I want the height to be exactly where it is, then I'm going to have to set one and hand move the other one, and it's going to be a little more difficult. In the case of a pattern that you purchase from somewhere else, it may be wise to go back to the maker of that pattern and ask for a modification, or you're going to have to go through each piece and resize it as you wish it. But if I want this lettering to be, right now it's 10.8 and the height is 1.612, if I stretch this lettering by the yellow box, I keep the height of a 1.612, but I've stretched the lettering. That would be true of the bowl the same way. Its height is a 6.487 and it's a 9.639. So if I just stretch it this way, then the height stays the same, but the length changes. So I have to determine what I want to do and how it's going to work best. But if I want to resize everything at one time proportionally, again, hold down Control, click on each item, and I could do this with just 2 items. Let's say I didn't want to do the words, I just wanted the bull and the dog. I can bring them down, and then I can come up here and I can move them. Probably, let's see if I can do a layout, center and center horizontally. No, center horizontally is not going to work. But it's going to put both patterns the same place.
CarveWright is sending you a new message.
Sorry about that.
CarveWright is sending you a new message.
How about that? My mail's talking to me. Now that it's over, it's going to talk to me one more time.
Outlook Express has new mail.
Outlook Express has new mail. Now you've heard a couple of my secrets. How about that? Anyway, I have to be careful what I'm doing, but I can always go back and undo. Okay, if I wanted both these patterns to be on the same plane as far as ground level, now that I've got them both highlighted, I can come to Layout, and I can go to Align, and I can align the bottoms, and they're both on the same plane as far as ground level. So those are the kind of things that I can do. This guy's a little thin. Oop. There, he looks more like a dog there. Okay. And since I've done that, I'm going to come back over here. Layout, Align, Bottoms, just to make sure I got them where I want them. Okay. But that's the kind of things that we're talking about when we're talking about resizing multiple items. So there are some pluses, but there are also some pitfalls that you have to be aware of. Jim, I hope that helps.